This is first place, right in the middle of winning an all-out 5K, and I'm all the way back here. Why? Because I'm completely out of shape and trying to be strategic about this race, hoping to prove that I'm not as rolled as my previous runs might suggest. But before we race, we have to fly there, since this race happened in Utah. Alright guys, we're outside of the airport now.
We did it.
So after arriving at our uncle's house where we were staying, I decided to go on a run at the hottest time of the day when it was over 90 degrees outside. It's really warm. I chose like the worst part of the day to run. But this run actually taught me a few things in preparation for the race. First, Utah summers can get very warm, but thankfully this isn't much of an issue because we race in the morning. Second, being at altitude is brutal, especially when running up hills. This is a problem because there's a massive hill during the race. Third, it's really easy to get lost in a new place. And I've never run this race before, but there should be plenty of people to follow, so I'll probably be fine. My pre-race day run taught me the exact same principles, so hopefully I was prepared enough for race day. Alright guys, good morning, it's like 6:30. We got the race. Yeah, I'm ready to go warm up. Before the race, we did a quick mile warm up and some drills. Alright guys, it's about 6:45 right now. Pretty sure warming up and stuff. Then it was go time. And then we were off and away on the race that I was not very prepared for. However, I did develop a basic strategy for the race, which was to go out somewhat conservative, and so I did just that, letting the leaders pull away early on. Also, as you can see here, some of the kids from the local cross-country team showed up to this race, and so I had a feeling I wasn't going to win this one. Also at this point, you can see my older brother Josh right in front of me, who's wearing this navy blue singlet, and he actually had quite a different race strategy than me. His strategy was to go with the leaders and see how long he can hang on, and by the end of the race, we'll see whose strategy works better. But right now, I'm about to turn onto the second longest straightaway of the whole race, being about a half a mile long. We round the bend, and I immediately move up a few places, trying to establish my spot at the front of the chase pack. As soon as I make it to the front of the chase pack, you can see my brother right in front of me, finally making his way to the lead pack, which might come back to haunt him. Also, the goal for the first mile was to go out in about 5:35 and then hopefully stay under 5:45 for the rest of the race, which would get me through 5K in about 17:30. Also, the course for this race is about 125 meters long, so I'm going to use Strava for my 5K split. Anyway, right here, this guy decides to just send it right past me and moves up to the lead pack. He seemed like he knew what he was doing, so I just let him go. At about a third of a mile, these guys go ahead and attempt to bridge the gap, but some of them don't fully commit, and they end up in no man's land, which is why I was hesitant to go with them. I was telling myself to just run my own race instead of going with them and focus on my own pace, which was difficult, but when I reminded myself that I run super low mileage for the past few weeks, I came to my senses and let them go. I came through half mile, and by this point, the lead pack had pulled away a little bit, as well as a couple guys in no man's land. This guy, who I'm going to call Sunglasses, had pulled up on my shoulder as well, and since he seemed to be pretty dialed, I decided to actually race him instead of just letting him pass by. However, literally 3 seconds later, I decided to go for the overtake and move right in front of them, and then started trying to reel in the dude up ahead, who I will call Purple Stripe. Purple Stripe was the only person who tried to make it to the lead pack, but never fully committed, and so now he's going to pay the price. At about this third turn, I made up a decent gap, but I also started to feel slightly fatigued, which means I need to push even harder to maintain the same speed. At this point, it's just me and Purple Stripe, as well as a couple other guys behind me. I also end up increasing pace while just trying to catch Purple Stripe, so I reel him in pretty quickly. Not long after that, we finished the long straight stretch and entered this downhill turn, which I did not use to my advantage, and Purple Stripe quickly gains 5-10 meters on me in only a couple seconds. Thankfully, I realized this and immediately started moving my legs, getting down to well under 5-minute pace. I also decided to continue pushing through the uphill, which was a little silly, but it worked, and I passed Purple Stripe. We also came through the mile in 5:32, so a bit fast, but nothing crazy. As we crested the hill, I see my older brother Josh just ahead of me, clearly falling off the lead pack, which shows that he did in fact pay for his earlier decision. After cresting the hill, I'm still going 5:20 pace, but I start to slow back down and settle into the 5:30s again. Now as I pass this lady out for a morning walk, I hear footsteps getting closer behind me, and it sounds like more than one pair. Now I know I just passed that one guy, but I think these guys have been sneaking up on me. Now I have slowed down to 5:40, but I'm starting to pick it up again on the downhill, and then I've been overtaking by Sunglasses, and it appears as though he brought his friend with him. They were looking pretty relaxed, and so I know if I wanted a fast time, I should probably go with them. They also had no interest in taking the tangents, so that's why I'm on the opposite side of the road as them. 1.4 miles in now, and it appears as though we've almost caught my brother Josh, who said afterwards that he was intentionally slowing down to run with us, so that way he would have competition, but who knows. And then we crossed this little watery section, which I thought was going to be a bit more slippery since my Rebel V4s aren't very grippy, but they were just fine. And then we continued on to catch Josh and add him to our little group. A little bit of looking around from Josh and some talking from the Riverton boys, but we continued on our way without any issues. I also thought to myself right here that it was almost like a Riverton versus Virginia boys showdown, even though it wasn't really, and they also probably had no clue me and Josh knew each other. It was still kinda cool though. Regardless, we're about to come up on the halfway point, hopefully under 8:45, because for the full 5K that would be under 17:30. Right here, right before the halfway point, I passed Joshua, and me and these Riverton boys, aka the sunglasses, keep moving up, pushing into the mid to low 5:30s. We actually end up coming through halfway in under 8:40, which is sub 17:20 pace, so about 10 seconds faster than the goal, but that first round was pretty quick, so I don't think we'll actually finish in a 17:20. Now at this point I was feeling it, and I was quite worried that I wouldn't be able to hang with the Riverton boys for the rest of the race. And even worse, the biggest hill in the course was coming up, which might cook me, especially because I'm not used to the elevation. Both of the Riverton boys passing right before the hill, and one even goes for a cup of water, which was actually kind of smart because it was warm. As we started this disgusting incline, I decided to pull out the sprint up the hill card and started digging deep just to pass one of these Riverton boys. Yeah, also here for no apparent reason, I start drafting off this kid, and then as soon as I pass him, I basically run him off the road. He gives me like the nastiest side eye of all time, but I am completely unfazed as I continue to charge up the hill, trying to pass his teammate as well. I don't really make a dent in his lead at all, and he actually begins to pull away from me a little bit. Also, the sprint up the hill card was completely countered by the disgusting amount of lactic in my legs and the fact that I haven't done hill repeats in a year. Now he really starts to pull away from me as I continue to slow down, bottoming out at 6-minute pace. My breathing continues to get worse as I round the turn onto the longest stretch of the entire race, well over a mile long. Also at this point, I'm struggling to recover from that brutal hill, and I'm struggling to get my pace to dip under 6 minutes. I did thankfully split a 5:48 second mile, and then right after that I hear footsteps coming from behind, and I turn to see that it's Sunglasses, back from the dead and ready for vengeance. At this point I thought I might have dropped him, but it appears as though he's not been dropped, and he quickly and decisively passes me on this downhill. But I'm not ready to give up just yet, and I start fighting him again on the uphill, even though my legs and lungs are burning. However, with every step I'm slowly catching him, and this gives me even more motivation. Close to the top of the final hill, I finally catch him, and now we're running alongside each other. We've also pushed the pace back down to 5:30, which I need if I want to break 17:30. Not long later, we both pass this guy in the purple shirt who looks like he might have gone out too hard, but Sunglasses takes this as an opportunity to pass me again, but this time he creates a bigger gap and I'm struggling to close it. This move by Sunglasses is getting to me, and I start looking at my watch, willing the finish to come sooner. However, I still have 3/4 of a mile left, and hanging on to Sunglasses for that long sounds impossible right now. The demons finally get to me at 2.4 miles, and the gap to Sunglasses quickly grows. By 2.5, it's already well over a second, and by 2.6, it's well over 3 seconds. My pace is also faded back to the high 540s, and the sub 17:30 is slipping away. However, I actually don't sound that much worse than I did at 2 miles, so it might just all be mental. Regardless, I'm slowing down by a lot, and I need to turn this around quickly if I want to go under 17:30. By 2.7 miles, I'm finally starting to speed up again, and the pace has dropped to the mid 540s. My breathing starts to ramp up, and the gap to Sunglasses finally stops growing. Just up ahead of Sunglasses, there's another person who looks like he might have gone out too hard, and as I speed up, the gap rapidly shrinks, until finally the victim of poor pacing is caught. I fly past him, still feeling horrible, but I know that the end of the race is coming up quickly, and so I keep trying to speed up. My pace dips under 540 yet again as I start to wind up my kick. However, Sunglasses is getting no closer. I know if I want to beat him, I need to drop an absolutely monster kick. I hit 3 miles and only have 35 seconds left to break 17:30, but because the course is long, the finish line is still 0.2 miles away. We round the second to last turn, and the gap to Sunglasses is finally close to where he is now in striking distance, and I just need to drop a nasty final 250 meters to beat him. The pain in my legs is almost unbearable, but the finish line is within reach, and we make the final turn for home, hitting 5K in 17:30 flat. But it doesn't matter right now, as the task at hand is now to beat Sunglasses. As we finish racing through the parking lot, he glances backwards to see where I am, and I immediately dig even deeper to catch him. And as we hop onto the grass, the finish line is right there, and I'm pushing as hard as I can, catching him with every stride, working harder than ever as I cut next to the tree, and now it's only a couple meters left and I need to catch him. My legs turning over faster and faster as I fly past him and sprint to the finish line, hitting 4:15 pace and finishing with a time of 17:55. Okay, so here's the Strava post, because if it wasn't on Strava then it didn't happen. But overall, I was pretty happy with the race, especially considering how out of shape I was. Also, Sunglasses, the guy I beat, ended up running 15:30 during his cross-country season, so shout out to him because that's pretty impressive. My brother also finished about 30 seconds behind me at 18:30, which is also pretty good for being out of shape. Good job, bro. Anyways, after the race, me and Josh went and cooled down, and while we were doing that, make sure to hit that subscribe button, as well as liking the video. I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers before 2026, so any support is much appreciated. As always, good job to everyone, and I'll see you guys again in the next one.